The door is open. Everyone, please come in. Someone asked, "What's the appetizer?" but I didn't hear it. For the appetizer segment, you can return to the main broadcast and listen to it after it ends. Now you should ask, what is the dessert? It's dessert time. Come on in quickly. I just arrived too. Nice to see you, Mr. Kim Taeksang. Matt Dangi, welcome. Jeonggang Delimi is here too. Sam Lin, welcome. Please come in. Mr. Jo Young-soo is here too. JY Bimant, Tamari, and Himang Sarung, it's nice to see you all. Sayaroi, welcome. Leader Kim, please come in as well. Wow, there were really a lot of issues over the weekend. Oh, the issues that seemed fine during the Friday broadcast suddenly broke out as soon as we wrapped up. Even news about Jo Jin-woong and Park Nare came up. But these were all quite complicated news stories. I was really surprised. Sunday mornings are usually such a peaceful time, you know. But then on Sunday morning, you get a call from the Kim Hyun-ji news production team. Yes, that's right. So, what are you going to do? Because of that work, I end up getting up early every Sunday morning and feeling nervous. It's really scary. I'm so afraid. I'm sorry. I attend worship every Sunday at 9 a.m., but strangely, I always get a call or a text right at that time. What are you planning to do? Let's look up an article before the service. It feels like we're always bothering you. This week has been particularly full of issues, so it seems all four of you had a lot of thoughts about which topic to choose. The stories we couldn't cover during the main broadcast will now be discussed on the comment show. Before that, take a moment to catch your breath. I'll prepare some dessert while you come in. Please come on in. Bring it in. Our producer hasn't arrived yet. There are desserts you can buy in advance, but if you get them the day before, the taste isn't as good, so there are some that you really have to buy on the same day to enjoy them at their best. It seems like today's dessert is something special. I think it's okay to look forward to it a little. It looks like the production team put quite a bit of thought into preparing it. Please look forward to it a little, and shall we exchange greetings before we start? Professor, you've been well, right? Yes, I'm still doing well and staying healthy. Since it's the year-end season these days, there are many small informal gatherings as well as official year-end parties taking place in different parts of the area every weekend. Because it's usually hard to get the microphone at official events, I end up having conversations more in these informal settings. So, you're talking about an informal gathering of around 30 to 40 people. That's the kind of meeting you prefer, then. It's definitely much better that way and more efficient too. The cost-performance ratio is really good. But why don't they give you a microphone at official events? It's probably because it's not your turn to speak yet. So they don't give you a microphone in that area because the current member of the National Assembly is from the Democratic Party. Certainly, each local government has a slightly different way of operating or its own manual. Not every place gives you a microphone. Some do and others don't. There are even places where they hand the microphone over and make introductions, even if it's a member of the opposing party. But isn't the district mayor a member of the People Power Party? But it seems something like that happened between the district mayor and our party. So that's why the two of you get along well. No, I'm fine. It's just that there were some circumstances like that. In Songpa Bayang, that is, in my district, whenever I go to an event, they always hand me the microphone, even when Assemblywoman Nam Isin is there with me. However, at large-scale events where all of Songpa participates or where GA, Yul, and Bayang districts all take part, there are many attendees and the event runs for a long time. So they tend to give the microphone only to the incumbent lawmakers while those outside the assembly are just introduced. As a result, the schedule ends up being divided further. Lawmakers like Dae Hyun-jin and Park Young-won don't really follow the idea of giving the microphone to Kim Gun-sik, so the outcome is obvious. There you go throwing another fact punch. No, that's not true. That's fake news. Really, it's not true. Understood, Professor Kim Gun-sik. How could we not know about that kind of relationship? Of course, we all know. But wherever Professor Kim Gun-sik goes, the local residents are always genuinely happy to see him. He's the kind of person who gets along easily and comfortably with everyone. As I go around the area and carefully look into things from the ground up, I become confident that it's definitely possible. In fact, there are quite a few sympathetic votes as well. People are now saying that you should run for a third time. The local sympathy sentiment is really strong. The People Power Party's approval rating is 24%. So it's difficult for me to speak carelessly about the party. He's really a good person. Now, since we have a lot to discuss today regarding the party, please wait a moment. President Lee Ki-in, welcome. Hello, how are you? Have you been doing well without any trouble? Yes, since the end of the year is already approaching, our party is also making plans for what kind of events to hold at year's end. You're asking what we're doing? Oh, us? There was a similar event last year, right? I think we said we'd be going somewhere around the 30th. This time, we decided to climb Halasan. Climbing Halasan, how impressive. At the party level? Yes, our party has decided to climb Halasan, the second highest mountain in South Korea, together. Are all the party members also applying together? No, not exactly. It's only temporarily opened at that time so that people can see the sunrise, and about 1,000 people are selected to participate. So they only take reservations for about 15 people per group. Among them, 3 members from within the party, 3 senior officials, and a few party staff members will climb to the top of Halasan together to strengthen their New Year's resolve. Wow, that sounds really nice. Oh, but you know how many people go to the sea or the mountains to see the first sunrise of the new year? If it rains, could that be a sign of our future? You're really chic. Could this truly be our future? Still, since it's a chance to renew your resolve along the way, I hope you have a meaningful time. Director Seo, have you been doing well in the meantime? Yes, like our district head Kim Gun-sik, I also have many year-end gatherings in the Gyeongno area, so I'm busy attending 2 or 3 places a day. I feel like I'm hopping around everywhere like a grasshopper. It's really hectic. Still, please be careful not to catch a cold. I caught a cold, and it's already been 12 days. My body feels fine, but I have a bad cough from a sore throat, so I feel a bit sorry about it. I cough a lot during the broadcast, so I feel sorry to the listeners and uncomfortable because I feel like I'm bothering others while hosting. I need to get better soon, but there's no time to rest. I hope you recover quickly. This illness requires plenty of rest to get better, but it's unfortunate that you can't do that. There really is no time to rest. Oh dear, you're working so hard. After the broadcast, I have a red ginseng package, so I'll give you one. These days, maybe because our chief CEO caught a cold or isn't feeling too great, even their thoughts seem a bit fuzzy. Still, they're physically healthy as ever. They say a healthy mind comes from a healthy body. Health really is the most important thing. So please recover fully and come looking healthy by the time we have our Kim Hyun-young's news show, Year-End Party. A society that forces people to think a certain way, as it does now, is never right. I didn't force anyone to do anything. I only said someone was being silly. I can accept being called silly, but who's really being silly will be for the people to decide. I would like to raise a counterargument. Assemblyman Park, welcome. How are you? Have you been well these days? Yes, my health is fine. I hardly catch cold these days. Even though I didn't get a flu shot this year, I've been exercising regularly, living a healthy lifestyle instead of living like Professor Kim Gun-sik, and I can definitely feel that my body has gotten better. But people who always say things like that always end up catching a cold 2 days later. I think we should be a bit careful at tonight's drinking gathering with Professor Kim Gun-sik. Let's wrap it up early. Nice to see you. Everyone, please come in quickly. Please come in. Are you curious why the appetizer for today's main broadcast got longer? Shall we start by having dessert first? Before we start the main broadcast? All right, the dessert has arrived. Let's relax the mood by enjoying dessert first and take our time talking. Please, go ahead. What could it possibly mean? What could it mean? They're handing out individually wrapped donuts freshly baked in the oven, one by one. I'll give you 5. I'll hand them out one by one. You said something, but you couldn't quite hear, right? They said to give you 5, so they made sure to pack them one by one before leaving. But why donuts of all things? All right, it's written here on the screen. One person, one vote. One person, one item. It was voted down by the Democratic Party, but we'll give one to each person fairly. You've worked hard. You really put effort into giving it meaning. Now, please, go ahead and eat. That looks really delicious. While enjoying the donut, we'll cover some news about Mr. Cho Jin-woong as an appetizer for today's main broadcast. It's a very hot topic right now. Mr. Cho Jin-woong announced his retirement just 2 days after the incident was reported, but that wasn't the end of the story. On the contrary, the controversy spread even into the political arena. Thus, Professor Han In-seob of Seoul National University Law School and Professor Park Kyung-shin of Korea University Law School exchanged opinions and engaged in a debate, while in the political arena. Representative Park Bum-gye of the Democratic Party and Representative Ju Jin-woo of the People Power Party also faced off. What I am talking about now refers only to those who express their opinions on social media. In this situation, are you saying that even the mistakes or wrongdoings committed during one's school days as a teenager should not be reported at all? If the position that such matters can be reported is raised, it means that the public should be more tolerant in accepting such reports. The debate continues as the opinion that such matters should be understood, embraced, and moved past clashes with the opposing view that this is absolutely unacceptable. After listening to each of the 4 of you in turn, it seems that each has a slightly different opinion. Since opinions weren't clearly divided into 2 sides, but rather subtly layered, we had a deep discussion about this topic for quite a while earlier. I've been receiving opinions from many people, and after looking through them, I noticed that each of you has slightly different thoughts. Not only are opinions divided between support and opposition, but the reasons for them are also varied and diverse. I see. Now, I'll read one comment that appears to be random. User Garlic said, "A crime is a crime, but there are different kinds." It seems that this person does not believe the public must necessarily call out and expel a celebrity for their mistakes during adolescence. Rather, it sounds like they are saying that even wrongdoings committed in youth should be viewed differently depending on the nature and seriousness of the offense. On the other hand, judging from Mulbanji's remark that Korea has no consideration for victims at all, it seems they were trying to convey the idea that, since victims exist, the world should acknowledge this and the public has the right to reject the wrongdoer. Let's take a look at an opposing opinion as well. It doesn't seem like there are many differing views. Hold on, there's an opinion that says, in the end, judgment is up to each individual in the public. It seems that Coco said something like this. And among you, there were also some who shared the opinion that we must never bury them. So, regarding Mr. Cho Jin-woong as well, there were quite a few opinions during the live broadcast that we shouldn't judge a person solely based on their past mistakes. However, judging from the opinions I'm seeing now, it seems that public sentiment on the Deco show leans a bit more toward the view that this incident has crossed the line of what the public can accept. Dr. Do's opinion is like that too, and Mr. SC and Mr. S7C seem to have similar views. It does seem that there are a bit more opinions leaning that way, but understood. Come to think of it, looking at the roles Mr. Jo Jin-woong has played, in the drama Signal, he was a character who tracked down a sex offender, and in the film Assassination, he played a righteous role as an independence fighter. So, the contrast with this current case feels especially striking. There's that side to it as well, though it does have a somewhat folksy quality. Honestly, I personally find it really unfortunate because he was an actor I had genuinely liked for a long time. The acting is really outstanding. His acting is excellent, and the roles he played always left a strong impression in the works. However, apart from that, such matters are ultimately issues that are bound to be judged by society. It makes no sense to say that we should not even evaluate someone just because they have already paid for their wrongdoing. Then, among those who have paid for their crimes, there are also many who committed serious wrongdoings in the past, for example, events from the time of former President Chun Doo-hwan. That does not mean it is excluded from evaluation. It is true that it can be subject to evaluation. However, whether that evaluation should take a form that completely blocks all of the person's social and professional activities is a separate matter. So I think time is needed, and that eventually the public will make its judgment. In addition, people in related industries, such as film or drama producers, will have their own judgments. They, too, will consider the judgment of the public to be the most important above all else. However, saying that the media should not report this even after learning the facts is problematic. A viewpoint or approach that suggests the media has buried someone alive is undesirable. In the end, we are well aware that Dispatch is a media outlet specializing in entertainment news and focused on exposés, and there have been many cases in the past where people applauded its revelations, like incidents involving celebrities or similar cases. I believe such double standards should not be applied based on partisan criteria, and some are even raising such claims. Some are even spreading conspiracy-like claims that this happened because they declared support for Lee Jae-myung, and this atmosphere is leading to public opinion that defends actor Jo Jin-hyun. What I find most regrettable is that such partisan standards are being applied. Regarding this issue, I do not believe that such a reason is the cause. To put it simply, as I look at Dispatch's report, I keep asking myself, what was this report really for? We need to consider whether this issue has a social nature or whether it is a matter of redefining social standards themselves. Furthermore, the social question raised by Mr. Cho Jin-woong is that now, when an individual sets a goal, they must examine their own purity and sincerity. It means setting your own limits, thinking that because of the mistakes of your youth, you should only live up to a certain point and must not dream any further. In the end, we have no choice but to move forward according to such standards. Then, simply because a victim exists, can my saying something like this be seen as leading to a secondary harm to the victim? That is a baseless speculation. Of course, the victim should receive fair compensation for the harm suffered, and at the same time, legal responsibilities must be fulfilled along with a sincere apology and reflection. However, even if a teenager who is sensitive and going through a turbulent period committed a crime that was difficult to understand even at that time 30 years ago, how is it any different for us now to tell him not to dream anymore? For example, let's suppose that while raising a child, the child made a serious mistake and ended up as a juvenile offender spending time in a detention center because they associated with bad friends or had an immature, distorted way of thinking. Because of that incident, the person was already stigmatized. After that, it reached a point where the parents ended up telling their child, "You're a loser now." Now they tell us not to think about achieving social success anymore, but just to find a way to get by reasonably. It feels as if that has become the reality officially acknowledged by our society. Can we really say that such a situation represents the right social values? I think we should also ask this kind of question together. I am not trying to defend Mr. Cho Jin-woong, but I believe that for our society as a whole to become healthier, we should clearly criticize what deserves criticism, while at the same time providing opportunities for reflection and allowing a person to move forward again as a member of society. In that case, wouldn't that mean we have no right to talk about things like rehabilitation or reform? Then are you saying that people who come out of juvenile detention must live their whole lives branded with a stigma? Won't it end up that way after all? You mean they shouldn't become a public figure? As Director Seo mentioned, as I've continually emphasized, if we approach this only from a social and structural perspective, we inevitably arrive at that conclusion. Therefore, people who have been to juvenile detention must also be given a chance to rehabilitate. That's absolutely right. When focusing on the structural background and material foundation of society, such a conclusion is understandable. However, in this era, I believe that beyond such structures, the most important thing is an individual's sincere willingness to reflect and change. In the past, there was a time when discrimination existed, and it was difficult to find employment simply because one had been to prison. Such scenes were clearly an aspect of a regressive society with problems. But haven't we already moved beyond that period now? Rather, we are now in an era where the rights of the accused are emphasized even more strongly. Therefore, I believe that our society is highly advanced in structural and institutional aspects and has a well-developed attitude of tolerance. In the end, the core of the problem lies within the individual.